today we are joined by an amazing artist that we love, whose voice and passion for worship have inspired so many people. You may know him from The Voice, where he wowed audiences with his performances, but beyond the stage, his heart for God and music runs deep. Please welcome to the show, Bodie. Bodie, man, thanks so much for joining us.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's get into something here. On your social media, the other day, you posted this amazing video of your daughter playing basketball. And you said if she makes the basket, you're going to take her to Disney. And when she shoots it, you were, what should I say? Like, get that out of here with the big block. So,
Yep.
Are you taking her to Disney?
I feel like I probably should. At this point, we're probably going to make it happen.
Yeah. Has she ever been to Disney?
She has, yeah.
Okay.
We live like 25 minutes from Disneyland, so it's not that crazy. But man, it's expensive. So, but yes, I do owe her a trip after going viral like that. I think I owe it to her.
Have you ever been to Disney World?
I haven't.
Okay.
I've been to Universal Orlando, but I've never been to any other Florida parks. No.
Yeah. Disney World is insane. We know some friends that live in California, and they say that Disneyland is a lot. There's a lot of similar things that Disney World has, but it's just a totally different thing. And you walk all day at Disney World, but Disneyland, I was told everything is like right there, really close. So it's not like a ton of walking, but I don't know. I've never been there.
Yeah,
so
it's not huge. It's definitely not the same.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and start by you just telling us, introducing yourself to our viewers and listeners. And you have a great story to tell. If you don't mind sharing a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. It all started when I was born by my parents. No, Uncle.
See, when a man loves a woman.
Yeah. Let's get into it. No, I grew up in Los Angeles to parents that were in the acting industry and TV film stuff. They met doing that, and my dad was a touring bass player in a rock band. So from a very early age, I was exposed to expression of art from the stage, and I was no stranger to that. They were also pretty new, but believers, and then fast forward several years, my mom becomes a children's pastor. So I kind of find myself not only familiar with performance and stage, but also really getting comfortable with, first of all, being a PK and all the good things and the tricky things that come with that. But what was really special is just really becoming familiar with the Holy Spirit and especially being in a very charismatic church. So I really fell in love with worship and worship through music and what that looks like to find the healthy balance between performative art and worship and how you can do both authentically. And so I started leading worship at like 10, 11 years old through my mom's ministries, and slowly kind of as I grew older, started leading for people my age, and the story just kind of trickles from there. Graduated high school and studied worship in college, and became a worship pastor out of college, met my wife in college. And the whole time doing the worship thing, also pursuing my own secular music career. And I highlight the word secular only because it was just a couple of years ago that I made the decision to go headfirst into Christian music. And to some, that might sound like, okay, well, you love Jesus. What's the difference? Shockingly, there is a big difference because who you're writing for, the audience definitely becomes a little bit more specific. And that's a whole story within itself that I'd love to share. But that's me in a nutshell. Obviously, I left out a lot of the hard times and some of the good times too, but really grateful that God brought me through some dumb decisions, some good decisions, and everything in between.
Yeah. We loved you on The Voice, and tell us about how that came about. And did you always want to be Team Blake, or was you tempted to pick someone else?
Yeah. So it actually several years before I was on the show, I auditioned for the show. So a couple years before I was even on the show, my wife and I were pretty newly married at the time, living in Phoenix, Arizona. I was worship pastoring at a church, and we'd watched the show, and I just felt, man, I really feel like I'm supposed to be on the show. And it wasn't like you know, I feel like a lot of artists that watch the show or vocalists that watch the show are like, oh, I would love to be on the show. But it was like deeper than that. It was like I feel like I'm supposed to be on the show. I wasn't really looking to be on the show. So I was intrigued by that. They happened to be holding auditions. This is way before COVID too. So it was like you go into a stadium with 5,000 people and wait in line and the whole old school way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I did the thing and made it past a couple rounds, had a callback, and ended up not making it. And I was so discouraged and kind of embarrassed, even with my own discernment, because I really felt in my spirit like I was supposed to be on this show. And so I just kind of went along with my life, kept doing the music thing, kept doing the ministry thing. And then they reached out to me a couple times over the next few years. I was in that category of like not quite good enough, but maybe next year type vibe.
Yeah.
And but at the time I was kind of butthurt, so I said no. And then they reached out to me the next year. I said, no, I'm doing my own thing now. And at the time I was starting to get some traction in my current hometown, which at that time was Phoenix. And then fast forward again, we're back in California, moved back. This is like 2021. And I'm having a bit of an identity crisis. I'm at that point still doing the music thing, kind of plateaued, volunteering heavily at my home church, which I'm still at, Oceans Church in Irvine. And we were paying the bills. I was making videos for corporations, for like law firms and realtors, and my wife was a photographer. And that was what we were doing. And I found myself on my face in my studio crying out to God. I was like, Lord, I don't know who I am anymore. Like, Lord, if you want me to be the best law firm videographer, wedding videographer, and that's my purpose, then I'll do it. But I'm so confused because I really felt like I was supposed to use my musical giftings to provide for my family, and just at a larger scale than I'm doing now. And right around that time, the voice reached out to me for, I think, the third and at that point, final time. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. Whatever. What do I have to lose? At this point, this is, years after COVID now. Everything's digital. All I had to do is send in a couple videos. I was like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
So I sent in the videos, and fast forward, a year later, I'm in the finale of the voice singing Gratitudes. It was crazy how long of a journey it was, but then how quick it all happened.
Yeah.
And to answer your Blake question, no, that was not the plan. My season, it was Blake Shelton, Gwen Stefani, John Legend, and Camila Cabello. Somehow, by the grace of God, all four turned for me. So I had my pick, and I was not expecting that. I was expecting maybe one chair. And so when I had all four of them, like, I don't know if you guys have watched the show, but they like plead their case. It's kind of the whole point of the show is like the banter and the trash talk.
Yeah.
And so, the finger. And so I wasn't ready for any of that. Like I said, I was just trying to sing my heart out and get on the show. And he ended up just swaying me, man. Like I could really sense that for one, there would be no one like me on his team. And two, I could tell that I was probably very outside of his wheelhouse. And I think that he would just enable me to do whatever I wanted. And that's exactly how I got to the finale. He just championed everything I wanted to do. And I just stayed unique and in my lane, and we made it all the way.
Yeah. And I'm sure it was like a whirlwind experience. Like even after the fact, it was probably just crazy. Even after the shooting of the show.
Yeah, it was nuts. I wasn't planning on, like I said, even being on the show. So singing on the finale and then choosing to sing a worship song in the finale, and just the weight of the presence of God in the room during that recording was so nuts. I don't think anyone was anticipating that.
Yeah.
So coming off the show, I was praying for second place, and we got, like, it was the most perfect best case scenario that could have happened. And so I come home and we just ride the wave. And it took me a while though, because at that point I came back home. I had a manager that wasn't following the Lord, and we were just gung ho on, I'm going to be a pop star. I'm going to do pop secular music. I'm still going to honor God and how I live, but I'm going to write for the general audience. But obviously singing a Christian song on national television, all the Christian labels are going to come out of the woodwork, and
Yeah.
I had a really interesting series of conversations with Ben Cantelon, who was at Sony Provident at the time. Sony's Provident is the Christian label of Sony, and um, we had some good talks. And I was like, man, I really feel called to the secular thing. And he's like, man, well, I love what you're doing, but you got to be all in Christian artistry and focus on that audience if you want to work with us. I was like, all right, well, I love talking to you, but it's just not going to work out. And then fast forward to a couple months later, through some crazy prophetic stuff, I just ended up making the hard decision. I fired my manager. That was super ugly, super painful. And then I'm in the shower praying. I feel like I don't know about you guys. I hear from the Lord in the shower quite often. That's like the place. And metaphorical and physical cleansing. And
Yeah.
I remember saying, Lord, I feel it's tugging on my heart to go that way, to focus more in on the Christian audience. But I want to reach people who love you and people that hate you. And I don't think I can do both doing Christian music. And I felt the Lord in my spirit say, that's not your decision to make. I choose who you write music for and who you influence. And in that moment, I was like, wow, I was so embarrassed with my pride and with my unawareness of what God had in store for me. And so I ended up calling Ben. I said, hey, you're never going to guess what just happened, what God just said. I'm all in if you're still interested. And then fast forward again, a couple months later, I'm in Nashville signing with Sony Provident.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And then fast forward to now, to today, you have an EP, Happier to Be Here. Happier to Be Here. I said that right the first time, but I don't know. I reset it.
Sounds better when you say it twice. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us how that EP came and just a little bit more about it.
Yeah. So I actually put its predecessor. Is that the word? I put out an EP before called Happy to Be Here. And that was the original EP. So I signed with Sony in January of last year. I put out that EP towards the end of last year, and then this is a remix project of that EP. So it's called Happier to Be Here, and it features Futuristic and Gracie Binion, and then a couple more acoustic versions of two of my songs. And so yeah, it's just kind of a fresh take of some new songs, of some previous songs, while I buy some time to prepare what's coming next, which is arguably the best stuff I've ever put out. So I'm really, really excited for what's next.
Yeah.
Now, where did the art cover with the cake come from? Was that just a random
we named the EP Happy to Be Here. Like, what's happier than a yellow cake? And then just my vibe is just to be extra. So I was like, let's just smash it. And so that's essentially what we did. We smashed it in my face, and then we used the shoe photo for the Happier to Be Here album cover.
Yeah, my son likes your song "Whisper in the Wind," and he was looking at the cover with the cake and everything. He's like, "Dad, what is that all about?" I'm like, "He loves cake, man."
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit the "Whisper in the Wind" tone, but the other songs it works for sure.
Yeah. So, what is you were posting on your social media the other day about a music video that you're working on? Is this from a new song that you're releasing, or is this a current song?
Yeah, so I am so sore and bruised and scratched up. I don't know if you're familiar with the show Jackass. Excuse my language. The stuff. Yeah. Okay. I feel like everyone, 20s and 30s, just has a special place in their heart, whether for good or bad reasons. But if you're not familiar with the show, it's just a bunch of skater kids that did stupid stunts and did arguably some pretty what would be the word, provocative things. From, I don't know, they'd play with bowls and bullpens, and what else would they do? Anything dangerous, and stupid.
Torture their bodies.
Yes. And so I kind of wanted to do my version of it. So that's what this music video is, and we do some pretty crazy stuff. Nothing offensive, obviously.
The Christian
version. Christian version. But man, I'm literally, I spent most of today editing it. We just finished shooting yesterday. And it's so funny and so cool. I'm really, really excited to show everybody. So I'm not quite ready to announce, but it's sooner than later. It's coming up pretty quick.
And there might be a market for this Christian version. Maybe a little reality show.
I'm saying, dude, I'm into that.
Now, with your background in video editing and everything, how I guess how involved are you with editing like a music video? Are you the one doing it, or are you like kind of like you can do it and then I'll have my hand on it
Yeah.
afterwards?
Yeah, I'm overly. I think my management and my label would say I'm too involved. I we do all of it. I'll plan, we'll create with label team, and then my wife and I will run with it. My weirdest music video for a song called R.I.P. I co-directed it with my little brother, who's a film student right now, and he edited it. But every other video I've edited and or shot it myself. So
Yeah,
this current one I'm working on, I am doing the editing and directing on it, and it's pretty fun.
sweet.
Well, Bodie, this is a fan based podcast, and so we will have our listeners write in questions for the artist. And we had a fan of yours. Her name is Nevaeh, and well, I'm assuming it's a girl. Nevaeh from London, and she wants to know the story behind your song "Think About You."
Oh, that's a throwback. That's fun because that was before I went the all in Christian route with my music. But this song is specific to my wife. It's a song just about my wife. Uh, Essentially, the premise, man, it's such a throwback, but essentially, the premise is um, I used to think about what it would be like hearing fans scream my name, fans scream the words to my songs, to see all the different cities and countries because of what my music's doing. But now all I want to do is hear you say my name, and all I want to do is build a life with you. All I can think about is you. So it's just a love song about my wife.
So, with every artist is different when it comes to writing songs and things like that. So, what does that process look like for you? Are you constantly doing like voice memos or writing things down on paper, or how does that look?
Mhm. Yeah, for me, I really love writing music, but I'm less of a songwriter than I'd like to be. Because I have friends that are just constantly like. Do you guys know who David Ryan Cook is? He kind of helped build what SEU worship is today, and now he's the worship pastor at my church. So I'm good friends with him. We lead all the time together. He's a machine. Like that dude will be on stage in the middle of a Sunday morning. He'll like pull his phone out and sing a thing, and then turn around and keep leading. Like the dude's a machine. I'm not like that.
Yeah,
I love songwriting. I will always write the songs that I put out, or at least co-write them. But I find more joy in like performing them and then creating the content around them and like the whole artistry piece of it. Um, so no, I'm not. Uh, yes, I do use voice memos. Yes, I do write things down in notes. But I'm not like I'm writing a song every day for the next year of my life kind of guy. But
yeah,
I will say when I'm ready to turn it on and we go spend a week, in Nashville, I'll write. We'll write 14 songs in 7 days or whatever it is. But my process has changed over the past couple of years being with a label now because
yeah,
I've never had access or really access to other writers, but even more than that, just access to the wisdom and the knowledge of like how songs can be written collaboratively. Because
yeah,
I've kind of always written with my wife and maybe one other person. Like it's been a very small camp, and I've produced all my own music up until that point. And so now coming into Nashville and working with label mates and producers on the label, it's just opened my mind to what's possible, collaborating with people better than me and more creative than me and smarter than me. And so now the process is I'll usually pop into a room with a couple other people. We'll talk shop. I'll pull out my notes. I'll be like, hey, this is what's on my heart today. I'll usually list out like 3 or 4 different concepts I have, just like a sentence or, a phrase. And then we'll bang out a song pretty quick. Yeah.
yeah. All right, Bodie. So we like to do this thing with first-time guests, and it's called Favorite Things. We will just list a category, and you just tell us your favorite thing in that category. And we'll
Okay.
start off pretty easily with your favorite food.
That's not easy. I like all of it.
He likes cake.
Oh, dude. Oh man, this is so hard because as soon as you said that, okay, as soon as you said that, I thought Mexican food, but like Asian food and Italian food are it's a three-way tie. I,
Yeah.
I I refuse. I
Yeah.
refuse, bro.
All
I
right.
refuse.
I'm fine with that.
What about a favorite movie?
Favorite movie. Ooh, man, I'm so bad at this. I have such a I'm not a very good decision maker. I'm gonna say What did I just watch that was so good? I'm gonna do a low hanging fruit one and just say this is controversial. I really like Elf, the movie Elf, Christmas time. I love that movie. Some people hate Will Ferrell's vibe. I think he's the funniest guy ever. I'm gonna say Elf.
You're speaking our language. We are Christmas fanatics. So,
Oh, praise God.
all right. Do you have a favorite show to binge?
Yes, we are massive bingers. I would say right now, well, the easy ones, Office, New Girl. I really like The Detroiters. Have you guys heard of that?
That
I
It's
sounds so
haven't.
Tim
familiar.
Robinson. It's Tim Robinson's show. It's a Tim Robinson show. I'm gonna say Office. Final answer. I've been giving you
What about a
long-winded answers,
favorite musical artist of all time?
guys.
Brandon Lake. He heard your song or his song.
I made it sound cooler. You can tell him I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say my secular answer. Just someone that's inspired me would be Post Malone, just because he's done so much genre crossover on the Christian side. I mean, Brandon Lake would be that kind of that same comparison. I really love what he's doing and what he's done. Yeah. I'll leave it there.
All right. Do you have a dream duet?
Dream duet.
Living or deceased?
Yeah. Just make it a little bit harder. That's good. Man, I would love to sing a duet with. I'm waiting for my brain to pick an answer. Honestly, I would be geeked out to do a Christian crossover song with a Post Malone or someone like that. Just
Yeah.
you would never imagine.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Jelly Roll and Brandon just did one. So
Exactly. So I think that'd be sick.
Chris, let's see. Do you have a favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate chip mint. That one's easy.
Mint one. All right. And do you have a favorite podcast?
Probably this one. Probably like Christian music, guys. Podcast.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got the email.
On the pastoral side, I really like Win Every Time with Dustin Bates. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
Yeah.
Church 1132. Yeah. Love Dustin Bates podcast. It's good.
All right. Well, Bodie, you passed the favorite things. I don't think there was anything controversial except for
I promoted a couple shows that probably aren't very godly of me to promote, but aside from that,
99.9% of the artists that we have on here say The Office. So
I should have said
we had. Well, you're going on tour with Gracie Binion. That's the Christian answer. Gracie Binion's parents were on our podcast, David and Nicole. And
no way.
Their favorite show is The Office. That's what they told us.
That's awesome. That's so fun.
All right. Well, Bodie, what is next for you, and how can our listeners and viewers keep up with you?
What's next? I'm going on tour in May through South Midwesty a little bit. All the info is on my Instagram and on my website. You can follow me on Instagram at Bodie, Bodie. And that's kind of where everything you can find is on there. I would love to meet you if you're in one of the cities and you're one of the cities I'm on tour. I'm hitting both of where you guys are both at, so we'll have to link up.
Yeah.
But tour. I can't officially say that I'm releasing an album soon, but maybe that might happen. We'll see. Wink, wink. And music videos. Lots of cool stuff coming out. Really, really excited for this year.
Yeah. What about you said you love the Elf, Bodie Christmas music.
I would love to do that. That's tricky because you kind of have to start doing it in like July, and usually that's like when you're touring. So it's like a weird. But I would love that. That's not a promise, but I did want to try for 2025 Christmas.
Well, especially like just your sound like that. Your sound in Christmas music would be pretty dope.
Cool.
That would be.
It'd be different.
And I have a great idea for a Christmas music video. You said you're working on one now. Well, you just finished it.
Yeah.
Christian version of that show. And so you could do one of like a Santa Claus song and you go around beating up mall Santas, That
would be sick. I already got real story. I got kicked out of a mall and escorted out 2 days ago. So let's just keep it going. I'll just go to malls and
that's funny. Well, Bodie, to wrap up, we'd like to see if you'd be willing to share something that God's been doing in your life recently that would help build our viewers and listeners' faith.
Yeah, totally. A big thing for me, I actually teach at the university I graduated from now, and something that I always like to just encourage my students. and something that's always on my heart and something that I'm always focusing on is just making sure that, number one, we always put time with God first. We're called to give our 10%, our first 10% of what we earn, with our income, but it's also so important that we give God our first fruits of our day. And so I always remind leaders, in music and leaders in any art form, or I think it translates to anything, business, anywhere you're passionate about. When you give God your first fruits and you choose to worship Him, read of His Word and pray and spend time with Him as your first thing. Secondly, you make sure that you are locked into a local church and you have a community of people that you can corporately worship with, corporately pray with, and corporately grow with, and you have accountability. It will help and dictate a lot what's going to happen or won't happen in your life. And when you stay locked into those things, that's where you can really enter the favor of God, and really it'll help you discern so much in your life. So that's something that I've placed a huge value in my own life, and I teach that as much as I can to my friends and my students. So I hope that would encourage some people if they're needing to hear that.
Yeah, man. Well, Bodie, thank you so much for chatting with us. Happier to be here. His latest EP is out. Stay tuned. His website, bodie.live, correct?
Yep, Bodie.live.
For tour dates, and then you're working on some new stuff. So thanks, man, for chatting with us.
Thank you, guys. Nice to meet you.